Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Up Your Alley. This week, we've got two great recommendations. First, Jake recommended for me the 2022 video game How Fish Is Made, and I recommended that Jake watch the 2023 film Napoleon, starring Joaquin Phoenix. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Game Informer's best video game of all time bracket and a whole bunch of trailers coming out. Jake, you got anything else to add?
Hey.
Let's get into it. Play the record. All right. What's up, buddy?
Oh, not much.
How you doing? Welcome, everyone, to the show. Officially, my name is Taylor Edgar, and with me, as always, is my best friend, Jake Baggett. Say hi, Jake.
Man, that fade out while you were talking was perfect.
It's nice, isn't it?
This is feeling legitimate.
It's professional.
What is going on?
So this is a show, if it's your first time listening.
How professional this is starting to feel.
I understand. That's what I'm trying to do. It's call to action.
I feel
call to action.
You're trying to do some standards
Can you
to
just
me.
pause?
No.
Want everyone to listen. Thank you for the show. If it's your first time listening in, be sure if you're watching on YouTube to click subscribe, like, and comment down below. If you're listening on any other platform, please leave a review and follow the show, all that good stuff. If it is your first time, it's a show with two best friends. That's me and Jake. We recommend things to each other, and then we come back the next week to talk about them, and we rate them on a scale of 1 to 3, depending on how much the other person's recommendation was up our individual alleys. We're talking today again about the video game How Fish Is Made. Jake, 2 weeks in a row with video games, bud.
Yeah.
Are you going on another kick?
I got tired
tease
of
for later?
Doing movies.
Yeah.
Movies.
We got a lot of movies coming up in April.
Because not only was I suggesting movies, I was watching more movies, and I wanted to play more video games. So this was getting me back in that headspace.
That's fine. Yeah. And I recommended for Jake, nice history epic, Napoleon, the good Ridley Scott making that movie.
Napoleon!
It's good stuff. Jake hates history if you're new to the show.
I don't hate history.
He hates everything historical.
It's like...
You said earlier you have no sense of time.
I have no sense of time.
Yeah, that's all history. It's just time.
All I could do was see that it popped up the date 1789, and I was like 200 years, 199 years before I was born.
Yep.
I was like, there you go. So my ancestors must have been alive. I have no clue what they were doing.
You would hope so. I mean, you're here. So
I am here.
I mean, someone had to be alive.
Earth adopted me. I'm Superman.
Where's your family from?
That's a complicated story.
How complicated?
There's some gypsy in there, like cave people.
It's Eastern.
Yeah,
Eastern Europe.
There's Irish. There's Scottish. There's English, and maybe a whole bunch of other stuff too.
Oh, Jesus,
that was just stuff from when we did Ancestry.com.
God.
There's still we have relatives that still own a bar in England.
Really?
That's been around since like the 1900s.
I've got relatives that own a liquor store in Waycross, Georgia.
Hey,
that's pretty cool.
You got something to fall back on.
If I ever need a gig, I could move down to Georgia and work at the liquor store. But Jake, I have been bugging you a lot this week. It seems like a lot of trailers are coming out.
Yeah, there's a lot of trailers.
How many of the trailers that I sent you did you watch?
All but the House of the Dragon.
House of the Dragon. So let's do a quick little rundown of things that are upcoming. We did this, our first episode of the year, we had a look ahead. I don't think we talked about many of these.
I don't think we talked about any of these.
Yeah. I don't know. Even though I pulled together a collective list, there's still things I missed. But let's go from first things that I'm going to guarantee Jake just says, I don't care about that.
Yeah, sure.
So, number 1. The second season of House of the Dragon.
Yeah, I don't... Yeah, there's nothing. There's nothing.
It looks fine. I mean,
it's just...
It looks fine. I don't think it's as engaging as Game of Thrones, but...
I feel like when somebody tags on, like, brought to you by Game of Thrones, they don't have enough of a good story to sell it as their own.
I think this was a book, too. I think he wrote another book.
Really?
I think it's like his Hobbit.
I don't know. Yeah. I just don't know.
I don't know. I didn't read enough of those books, but the first season was fine. Like, I'll watch it, but it's not one of those things that I'm counting down the days for it to come out. I mean, it's dragons and stuff. It's fun to watch.
Yeah.
Next up, the sequel. I saw great before this trailer came out. The trailer is Beetlejuice,
yeah.
which is hilarious because it's a great name for a trailer. or for a sequel, and also
Yeah.
it implies the existence of Beetlejuice,
Yeah,
which
that's
will
great.
be another
All
one.
of that was getting me pretty excited.
Right.
When I was just hearing about it, because they're like, everybody's coming back for it. It's going to be a little fun little thing.
Yeah.
And then the trailer is just that lifeless Ghostbusters trailer that we had before, where they take the song that you know from it,
All the
and
stuff you know.
slow it real down.
All those kids singing Deo at a
Yeah.
funeral.
Deo. And it's like so slow, and it's losing the moxie
Yeah.
and upbeat rhythm of the first movie.
It opens it at a funeral, and Lydia's there. Lydia's mom's there. You're assuming it's the funeral for Lydia's dad.
What it has to be, because
Yeah.
that guy can't work anymore.
Yeah, and I'm assuming Jenna Ortega is playing Lydia's daughter, but she was also Wednesday Addams. I'm like, okay,
Yeah, that's why she's in this.
she's getting all the little goth girl parts. I'm like, go ahead, make your money. Like, good for you.
Whatever.
That's fantastic.
That's fine.
And
And I don't know if this is going to be a good or bad movie, but it made me groan when I was
Yeah.
watching it, because
I
it
do-
doesn't tell you anything about it. It just tells you, hey, everybody's back. And look, Michael Keaton's Beetlejuice. We already told you that, but here you go again.
Yeah.
And I don't get why I'm supposed to be pumped up, other than like these trailers should be showing in front of a movie. So that
Right.
way I have no choice but to see them.
right,
And that maybe that's how you'll find out
YouTube
that
has kind of
Beetlejuice.
killed the trailer culture. I remember there were people that would go to movies just to see trailers again a couple times. Like,
Well, I hang out with my dad like once a week,
Uh-huh.
and we go through Amazon Prime looking for movies to watch,
Yeah.
and they include the trailers with them.
oh,
And watching trailers from like the 70s and 80s and 90s, where they have like a voiceover guy being
it is a lost art.
Yeah, it's so good. Tom Hanks has one red shoe, and you're
Yeah.
like,
Oh, what's this movie about?
it just dude explaining to you what's happening and like what
Exactly.
you're gonna get into, and you're like, oh,
Yeah. It's
thank
kind of
you.
nice. Yeah, you're spot on. This was just like the Ghostbuster trailer. That movie comes out this week, I think. I'm not going to go see it.
I'm not gonna go see it.
Trailer for the new Star Wars series, The Acolyte,
Yeah,
set in the
It's just
High Republic. Now, apparently,
Old Republic.
the High Republic.
That's what it's called now.
Yeah. No, the Old Republic's different than the High Republic. The High Republic is 100 years before the Phantom Menace.
I thought it was 1,000 years.
I was 100% wrong about this. Apparently, a lot of these characters are in comics and stuff, and
Yeah.
I've missed some Star Wars. I will fully admit that. I have missed
Plo
some Star
Koon.
Wars. Plo Koon? No, he's in episode 1.
I don't know who that is.
He gets blown up. Yeah.
Everybody talks about it.
He was a playable character in Star Wars Jedi Starfighter. When it's like, hey, what if we did
I
Rogue
didn't
Squadron?
love
But
Jedi Starfighter, but it was good.
yeah, I mean, it was
Yeah.
it was like Rogue Squadron, but it was
Yeah,
it was fine.
exactly. Rogue Squadron is just 10 times better. I really want to play those games again.
What'd you think about Alien Romulus?
That one was the only thing that grabbed me was Fede Alvarez is directing it, and I like his Evil Dead, and
Did
I
he
really
do the
like.
most recent Evil Dead?
Yeah, I think he did Evil Dead Rise.
Evil Dead.
I
Your
know he-
mom's an Evil Dead.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But I know he did the Evil Dead remake,
Okay.
and he did Don't Breathe, which
I don't know what that is.
I'm pretty sure we saw that in theater together. Or maybe it was with my brother.
I did not see a
But
scary movie in theaters. Jacob.
It was a really fun movie. It was great. It's a bunch of kids, well, a bunch of young adults break into a house of a blind man thinking they could just steal him blind. But he's kind of a crazy dude that ends up killing them. Really?
Is that the
fun.
one with, the movie with Niles?
No.
There's another movie like that where people break into Niles' house
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
and he kills some people.
But no,
Okay.
no. This one is he's blind.
It looks like a scary aliens movie. It
looks-
looks like they're not trying to do like a whole big backstory, like
Well, I
grand
think-
scheme of how everything happened.
I think the backlash from Prometheus made Ridley Scott make Alien Covenant, which I thought was bad. I'm a Prometheus guy. This is the type of guy that you're dealing with right here.
I'm not sure which of those movies. Those movies ended up kind of being like the Terminator movies and the Fast and the Furious movies. I know there are certain ones that I haven't seen,
Yeah.
but just looking at a list of the titles, I can't tell you which
That's
ones
what I
haven't
liked about
seen.
Prometheus is it stood on its own, and then at the end it comes out being like, oh yeah, and we're alien. And like that's more fun
Yeah.
to it than anything.
That was just called Prometheus, wasn't it? It wasn't Alien Prometheus.
No, it's just called Prometheus.
This is Alien Romulus. A weird switch from Greek mythology
But-
to Roman mythology.
It looks like it's just going to be another
Spooky.
spaceship,
Yeah.
scary alien spaceship world, spaceship movie, and that sounds fine by me.
Yeah.
You know, it's not offensive.
No, and I think it's good. It looks.
I'm not offended by these things. I'm just tired by these things.
I think what a lot of those movies went away from when they would like go down to the planets and everything that really broke away from the reason Alien is such a scary movie is because it's so claustrophobic.
Alien is still my favorite one. Aliens is really good, but
Yeah.
the Aliens decided to go with a different
It's an action
genre
movie instead of a horror movie.
So it was completely different style, but it was still cool aliens
Yeah.
design and really fun characters that I cared about, and just a really cool story and an awesome fight at the end.
But I think
Alien 3 was not good. It was fine. It wasn't good. And then
I don't think I've seen
Alien Resurrection was
That one I've seen.
silly.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it for what it was, but it is silly.
Right.
And then you got Prometheus, which I thought was great, but everybody else was like bad. And I'm like, I didn't see that. But then then I saw Covenant, and I thought that's bad. And everybody was like, you're wrong.
This is a good
that
one.
was actually good.
Well, I think if they go the route that they did, have you seen Prey yet?
No, I do want to see Prey though.
So they did Prey, and it's Prey. If you don't know, it's the Predator, but it's with a Native American girl, like in the 1700s.
Oh, okay.
So if they're just doing that, where it's just like, hey, it doesn't have to be the grand scheme. It's like if they made a Star Wars thing that doesn't have to do about the Skywalkers, which is
Yeah.
what I think Acolyte is, which is why I'm kind of on
No.
board. That's why I really liked
It's not gonna
Andor.
happen.
Because Andor wasn't about the Force or the Jedi or anything like that. It's just like, no, you're just in this universe,
mean,
and
still-
other stuff happens in this universe.
My favorite thing from Star Wars recently is that Mountainhead, from Star Wars Visions,
Yeah.
because that was just a
Journey to Blackhead or whatever it's called. Yeah.
I can't remember what it was called.
It was
but
good, though.
It was really good. It was a really tight little story. They could make that an hour and a half, and I would have watched it.
Mm-hmm. As an anime?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought it was awesome.
The last two that we'll get into, one I'm the most excited about. The next one you're the most excited about. I know you're stoked. Well, I'm also stoked about Furiosa. The
Yes,
second trailer for
absolutely
that
stoked.
looks like I think it's going to be so much fun.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be just as much fun as Fury Road.
Fury Road was fantastic, just nonstop, great action movie. And I love how in the trailer for Furiosa, Chris Hemsworth, I think I texted you, I said he's aggressively Australian.
Yeah,
Like, it's so great.
Chris Hemsworth even said himself, like, he doesn't want to work with another director unless it's like George Miller.
Yeah.
And that makes me so happy.
Well, and he's like the biggest star out of Australia. And,
Whoa. Hugh Jackman, sir.
well, I'm doing like action movies like this. Hugh Jackman's in his 50s.
Okay.
Like,
Okay.
Hemsworth is at his prime right now. If there's a time for Hemsworth to be doing a Mad Max, like, you're doing a Mad Max now.
How old is him?
How old is him?
How old is him?
He's got to be in his 40s, I would imagine.
Man,
He's older than us.
I don't know.
He fucking better be older than us.
I don't know.
But yeah, he's just having fun, and he's
I like
being
Chris
a villain.
Hemsworth. Yeah.
He's kind of going off the rails. Hemsworth is 40. He's 40. Yeah. We talked about him in the movie Spiderhead that we
Yes.
watched a couple
Yeah.
months ago.
He's one of those guys that looks like he has a lot of fun acting.
Everyone
And he
looks like
wants
they're
to-
having fun on this movie.
And that's what I'm saying.
so
you can
stoked
tell
for it.
when the energy is right.
Yeah.
Because that's what I thought Spiderhead did really well. You could tell that Chris Hemsworth was like, I'm really going to explore the fuck out of this character.
Yeah.
And what's his name? Miles Teller?
Miles Teller, yeah.
He, same way. He's just like, I got an idea, a vision for this character.
Yeah.
And it just brings him out. And so it just creates a really good movie around that.
He's going to do a whiplash, and it's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
And the last one that I sent you was Monkey Man.
Yeah, absolutely stoked.
So Monkey Man,
Incredibly stoked for that
it's
movie.
Dev Patel written and directed.
The more I listen to Dev Patel talk about this movie, the
Yeah.
more I want to see this movie.
It seems like he had a vision for it. He looks like all the reviews that pop up in the trailer say it's one of the best action movies in decades.
Yeah.
Which if it's like a new John Wick,
That's my favorite thing.
Awesome.
That Dev Patel, they were like, is this your John Wick? And he didn't even answer that question. He was just saying, I'm really excited to be making movies like Jackie Chan,
Right.
like Tony Jaa, like Donnie Yen. And you're like, he knows what he's doing. He's not saying, I'm making an action movie. He's saying, I'm making a really cool martial arts movie.
Right.
That you guys are going to be into.
well, I mean,
And I'm like, now you're speaking my language, buddy.
a lot of it pulls from the Eastern influence, like the Bollywood stuff. Like you can see a lot of the framing shots are hyper stylized and everything like that. And John Wick obviously took from the Jackie Chan's,
John
the
Wick
Tony
is a
Jaa.
love letter
Yeah.
to, I hate using that term, but John Wick is extremely inspired by
Right.
a lot of action flicks.
And it didn't try to hide it. It's not trying to be like
exactly.
super original.
Where Dev is trying to add his voice to the choir, so to
Right.
speak. And I
It's-
think that's a really cool take on what you want to do with an action movie.
It looks like you're making the action on the set instead of making it in the edit. Like a lot of
Motherfucker.
stuff you're doing it's like shaky cam and like quick cuts and everything like that to make it look like there's a lot going on, or you can film it and there's a lot of shit going on. It's really well choreographed. And
brought up Sammo Hung.
I have no idea what that is.
Exactly. He's another awesome martial artist. He did a movie called Killzone. That is one of the saddest action flicks I have ever seen. Just tragic.
I heard.
Oh man, I want to watch Killzone.
Yeah, let me know about that.
But he just knows his shit.
Yes,
that's what
he
I
does.
really like to see.
He's a smart guy too. I love Dev.
And it's one of those things where he said like he broke 3 of his toes, he broke his shoulder. Jesus. And it's that hearing these types of things, I wish him nothing but the best of health.
Yeah.
But that's a commitment to
Putting it on the line.
The action, that it brings me back to my Jackie Chan days when he broke his back making these movies and stuff. And I'm like, he knows what he's doing, and I'm just having so much fun just thinking about what this movie could be.
So I'm really hyped. I think that kind of goes hand in hand with Furiosa, like just 2 great action movies. Like, love a good summer blockbuster action movie.
Just people that are really good at their craft. And this is Dev Patel's first directorial venture.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that. We've been doing a couple of debuts.
Yeah.
We did Charlie's. We did
Jake
Jake's,
Johnson. Yeah.
And now we're doing Dev's.
Sounds good. Keep it rolling.
Yeah, let's keep it rolling.
This might be apocryphal, but I heard this on a different podcast or read it online or something. But when they were talking about when Daniel Craig stepped down as James Bond, they were everyone was throwing out names.
Yeah.
And someone said, "Oh, Dev Patel would make a great James Bond."
You know what?
And then people were just like, "Oh, he can't be actiony." And apparently, I hope this is a true story that he took it personally, and he's like, "Fuck you, I'm going to write an action movie." And if that's true, did you hear they cast a new James Bond allegedly?
Allegedly,
Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Yeah,
Kraven the Hunter himself.
Yeah, that's really weird.
He was great in Outlaw King that we watched.
Okay.
Yeah. It's weird. Like, seeing him in Outlaw King and then seeing him in other stuff. The first time I saw Aaron Taylor Johnson was in Kick-Ass.
Who was he in Outlaw King?
He is the Black Douglas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That kills all those people in the church and starts screaming.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's fucking great.
He was great, wasn't he?
He was.
Okay.
But I first saw him in Kick-Ass, and ever since then, just in my head, and I think it's just because he was acting against McLovin, I always thought he was a small guy. Because he's meant to look like nerdy in that movie, and he gets his ass kicked a lot. And he's against Christopher Mintz-Plasse, who we know is the nerdy kid from Kick. And it's just like frame of reference.
Yeah.
Like, he's a small person. No, he's a giant.
Yeah.
He's a giant jacked man.
That's very true.
Yeah. It's like Daniel Craig style, just huge hulking James
I've always
Bond.
pictured Dev Patel in my head as the Slumdog Millionaire still.
Yeah.
Like with the sweet boyish smile and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But seeing him in Monkey Man, he looks beautiful. He looks like he could do a James Bond real easy. Like suave. Like that type of,
Yeah.
impeccable look
I knew him first from The Newsroom. You remember The Newsroom?
No.
Jeff Bridges. It was Aaron Sorkin.
Yeah. I do remember that.
It was The West Wing, but the news.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like a guy in that. Just the same way, soft-spoken, like really just smart guy. But yeah, fucking kick-ass with the action.
I'm in. I'm so ready.
So
I'm very happy to see that.
2 cool stories out of video games before we get into more video game stuff after the ad break. One, I talked to you about this briefly. You're familiar with Project 0%.
Yes.
Or Team 0%.
Yes. I remember hearing about that.
It's my favorite ongoing story right now. So Mario Maker 1, if you don't know, Super Mario Maker came out on the Wii U, a platform that was, I think, Nintendo's probably worst selling major console.
I don't know. Virtual Boy.
Major console. Virtual Boy's a gimmick.
To think that Virtual Boy wasn't a major console.
Yeah.
That they didn't put their whole ass into it.
It really hurt people's eyes after a while.
Yeah, that was a bad idea.
But, so Mario Maker's a game where creators could go in and make their own levels in Mario. Just the 2D platformer levels. So Nintendo announced that I pulled it up. When is it?
April 4th?
I think, yeah, April 4th. Or April 8th, sorry. 4 p.m. on April 8th, they're taking off the online functionality of the Wii U and also the Nintendo DS. Just making room for servers, everything like that. Clearly, they've got
I hate that.
There's rumors for the Switch 2 coming out. They're making room.
I don't like that, though.
I know. Eventually, you got to do it. They did it. They took down the
It
store.
shouldn't be eventually you got to do it.
I know. I understand.
Shouldn't. You're deleting people's actual work that people put days, maybe weeks into. And you've decided, we can't hold them anymore.
The thing
we
is,
ran out of room.
You're still going to be able, if you download the levels now, you can keep them. But it's just people won't be able to upload new levels.
They should.
But they have Super Mario Maker 2. Did I send you that tweet about Nintendo that I loved so much?
No.
It was someone posted a thing of Activision pays their CEO Bobby Kotick 60 times more than Nintendo's CEO Shintaro Furukawa. Apparently, the CEO of Activision gets paid $155 million a year, and the CEO of Nintendo gets $2.5 million a year. And someone subtweeted underneath it, says, being serious for a second, this is a perfect example of how Nintendo is able to allocate its resources properly. Rather than the CEO being paid an extra $152 million, the money can go towards what Nintendo really loves, lawsuits against their gamers, which is spot on for Nintendo. But so they're shutting down the servers. No one's going to be able to upload more. Yeah, there's Mario Maker 2 is out there, so you can still do
not upload making thing.
They have a Mario Maker 2. There's Mario Maker 2.
I'm just saying.
I know.
I'm
There's
all
Mario
about
Maker 2.
preservation of these things.
I know. That
So,
guy, the completionist,
I'm not upset.
downloaded all the 3DS games, and now he's apparently a fraudster. One of the long lines of people that we were saying, oh, he's a good person, and then it turns out maybe not so much. So we're just going to stop saying people are good people.
Oh, keep saying it. I don't care.
Yeah, keep going. Just with the caveats at the end of everything. So there's they're trying, what Team 0% is trying to do is they're trying to clear every level in Mario Maker. So the way it works in Mario Maker is person has to upload a level, but that person has to beat the level before it can be uploaded to make sure that the level is able to be beaten.
Yeah.
So every level that's uploaded can be beaten.
Yeah.
So Team 0%, when they announced this, they were saying we have to clear every level because you could sort the levels by how many clears the level has. And if a level has a 0% clear rate, that's what they're working on. Mm-hmm. They are down at this point, as of taping, down to one level.
That is pretty incredible.
In the history of this game, there's one level. It's called Trimming the Hedges. The level is 17 seconds long. Like in the clear video, the person that uploaded the game, and apparently this guy that uploaded the level, he doesn't want to be in contact. People have spoken to him like, don't you think that's cool that your level's the last one? He's like, I don't care. He doesn't want to do interviews. Like he could get on Twitch and start talking about stuff, but he's just not, which I love. I love an enigmatic creator. It's so great.
Yeah.
So it's just the best story. Like, I really hope someone clears this last level, and it's going to be one of the insane things.
They saw him already clear it?
He uploaded a clear video when he uploaded the level.
Yeah.
He's like, this is how you do the level. It's just insane, quick, tight jumps. And, you know, it's 17 seconds. It's a lot of bomb drops and, like, jumping off of things, doing hard spins. It's a Super Mario World level. Uh-huh. But, yeah, it takes 17 seconds. But no one has cleared it besides him when he uploaded it.
No. Well, good luck to them.
Yeah, shout out to those guys. I hope they do it. But the big video game story I want to talk to you about was it's March Madness time. I know you've filled out your... Who do you think is going to win the NCAA tournament, Jake?
Probably a basketball player. Just one.
Just
backs away from playing for Duke, and he says, nah, you're all playing against me now.
I'm in charge. So Game Informer did a bracket just like March Madness with 64 games, and they're letting people vote for the greatest video game of all time. So I'm going to start you...
it's going to be something stupid like Pong.
I don't know if Pong's on here.
Tetris?
I didn't go back to the 64. We're going to go down to the Sweet 16.
All right.
And you're just going to give me hot takes. What's a better game?
Okay, sure.
First matchup was a number 1 seed, Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, versus Mass Effect 2.
Mass Effect 2. No. Witcher 3. Witcher 3 is a more cohesive and ending story. It ends well. It's very big.
I'd give that to Mass Effect 2.
I would give it to Witcher 3.
Yeah.
With the caveat that I love Mass Effect 2.
Well, let's jump around a little bit because some of these matchups are kind of obvious. This one might give you a little bit of pause. Baldur's Gate 3 and Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic.
Baldur's Gate 3.
Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic was a good milestone.
Yeah, but Baldur's Gate 3 is like... it's like Simba coming back from in The Lion King, just better than his father in every single possible way. He's hotter and smarter and more worldly.
There's more boobs.
He's way into boobs. His dad was like, Simba, don't look at that.
Some of these were hard for me coming out of the gate. In the first round, an 8 seed versus a 9 seed, Pokemon Red/Blue versus Metal Gear Solid 3.
Metal Gear Solid 3.
That would be tough for me.
You saw how fast I was.
I know you were, but that's
played and beaten that game more than anything.
I know I've beaten Pokemon Red and Blue more than I've beaten Metal Gear Solid 3. I love both
so
games.
many times. I've beaten Red and Blue. I beat them 3, once for each, Red, Blue, and Yellow.
Metal Gear Solid 3 got taken out in the second round by a number 1 seed of Elden Ring. I think this is a little bit of recency bias.
Yeah, because that's a really harsh call.
Yeah.
Because Elden Ring is really good, but
Some of these losses I don't get. Like,
it's really good though.
yeah. I mean, but
I know. I mean, Metal Gear Solid 3 is one of the best games I've
that's
ever
fair
played.
enough. Elden Ring also beat out in the next round Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past. But also, Last of Us beat out Breath of the Wild.
No,
You don't
absolutely
think so?
not. No, Breath of the Wild is a much better game than Last of Us.
So here's the final four. Going up in the first matchup. The Last of Us versus Elder Scrolls V Skyrim.
Both of those
They're in the final four.
Those games would not be even in my final four.
It's the people voting, Jake.
This is amazing. Well, Skyrim should win on this matchup, but I cannot believe that Last of Us came this far.
Last of Us and Last of Us 2 were in this. And then on the other side...
It's just people who have
It's a recency
campaign.
bias. Yeah.
No, it's like people coming through with a campaign.
You think?
Yeah, it's like, hey, everybody, let's go vote Last of Us so that we don't feel so bad that the game that we think is the best.
I'm trying to see how far one of the Fallout games.
Man, I hate competitions.
Yeah.
Because
First round, Shadow of the Colossus went up against World of Warcraft.
Shadow of the Colossus for
Yeah.
me, but I can understand how World of Warcraft would be.
Final
considered a better
four
game.
on the other side, coming in, beating out in Baldur's Gate 3 in the Elite 8, Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time,
That game is great.
against the game that beat out The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, Red Dead Redemption 2.
This is insane.
Ocarina of Time versus Red Dead Redemption 2.
Ocarina of Time,
Really?
easily.
So then your championship between the two best games here, because you have to go in the bracket structure.
Yeah.
So you're saying the matchup between the two best games should be Ocarina of Time versus Elder Scrolls Skyrim.
It wouldn't be my choice, but if this was my choice from the final four, yeah.
So you've
It would have to be
Ocarina
like
of Time
this.
over Red Dead 2?
Yeah. Yeah. I could write pages and pages on how Ocarina of Time is a great
Listen,
game.
I love Zelda. I've played
Majora's
Ocarina
Mask
of Time.
is better than Ocarina of Time.
Of course
I'm going to say that.
say that. It's always what all the cool kids say.
Because it is cool.
That's
Because
fine.
Majora's Mask is a legit, really good game.
I'm trying to see if Majora's Mask was on here. Wind Waker's on here. Majora's Mask has to be fucking on here.
No, they're not going to put it on there.
Because they're not the cool kids?
Because they're not playing games
Fair enough.
they're playing to consume them.
Guess what? Red Dead Redemption 2 wins it for me. Because if it was my bracket right now, it would be the championship would be Red Dead Redemption 2 versus Skyrim, and Red Dead beats Skyrim.
Best game of all time, Red Dead Redemption 2.
In this bracket.
It's not even the best in the Red Dead Redemption franchise.
had this conversation before.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That is insane.
So you think this whole list is Balderdash?
Well, I just think that people look at it and they're like, the story is really good. And it's like, I don't care about the story as much.
Well, some of these mashups, it's really weird because, first round, BioShock beat Minecraft. And I'm just like, all right, I could see that BioShock would probably be a better game,
Again,
but
it's
how many people are
story.
playing Minecraft?
See, what are you... Yeah. I don't trust people's votes.
I mean, Minecraft has to be, one of, if not the most greatest selling game of all time.
Yeah.
And then also in the first round, Fortnite went up against Persona 5 Royale, which I'm like, Fortnite's one of the most popular games ever, too. I feel like this is just kind of people picking the cool kids. And also, Metal Gear Solid beat Tetris. That's pretty great.
I think I don't trust the people when they
Yeah.
vote.
Yeah. So what you're saying is people shouldn't be allowed to vote.
Well, I'm thinking that people should sit down and really think, and they shouldn't just listen to their gut. Not like what I just did when I heard what they were up to.
Exactly what you just did.
But give yourself a little bit of a thought.
All right.
Because if I saw this bracket when it was beginning,
Yeah.
I probably would have just thrown it away.
Yeah.
Because indie games aren't on these things, you know. It's not proper representation.
Resident Evil 4 got knocked out in the second round by God of War 2018.
See, this is ridiculous.
That's an upset.
Absolutely ridiculous.
That's an upset. Ocarina of Time beat out Grand Theft Auto 5 in the second round. I agree with that.
I would agree with that.
Yeah. All right, so Game Informer, I'm curious to see who ends up winning. I bet it's going to be Red Dead Redemption 2 because I've voted for them already.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to get into our recommendations real quick after this short message from our sponsor. Is something interfering with your happiness or preventing you from achieving your goals? Regardless if you have a clinical mental health issue like depression or anxiety, or if you're just a human who lives in the world and is going through a hard time, therapy can give you the tools to approach your life in a very different way. That's why I'm excited to tell you about today's sponsor, BetterHelp. BetterHelp's mission is to make therapy more affordable and more accessible, and that's important because finding a therapist can be really hard, especially if you're limited to the options in your area. BetterHelp is a platform that makes finding a therapist easier because it's online, it's remote, and by filling out a few questions, BetterHelp can match you to a professional therapist in as little as a few days. It's easy to sign up and get matched with your therapist, and there's a link in our description. It's betterhelp.com/Allie. That's betterhelp.com/Allie. Clicking that link helps you support this channel and also get you 10% off your first month of BetterHelp so you can connect with a therapist to see if it helps you. And because finding a therapist is a little like dating, if you don't fit in with your first therapist, and that's common, you can easily switch to a new therapist at no additional cost without the stress of insurance or who's in your network or anything like that. I'm a big proponent of therapy, and anybody that knows me can attest to the difference that it's made in my life the past couple years, and I recommend this program to anybody. So if you're struggling, please consider online therapy with BetterHelp. Click the link in the description or visit betterhelp.com/Allie. That's betterhelp.com/Allie for 10% off your first month. And we want to thank BetterHelp for supporting our podcast. All right, let's get into the topics for this week. First of all, we're going to talk about Jake's recommendation for me. Back-to-back weird video game recommendations for Jake. He's on a bit of a tear. This is a 2022 game, How Fish is Made, developed by three people, Joanna, I'm going to say these names wrong, Kasurian, Jeffrey Tomek, and Martin Haldin. For future games. It was on Steam. This is the first game that I broke out the Steam Deck for.
Nice.
Yeah. Not available to play on Mac. So I was just like, Steam Deck, because it's first person. I got to use the joysticks. It's fun like that.
Third person.
No, it's first person. Oh, yeah.
You flop around as a fish.
Yeah, you're a fish, but there's no persons.
No.
It's a zero-person game.
Third fish.
Yeah. So, Jake, how the hell did you find this game? It's a free game on Steam, by the way. If you have Steam, I recommend everyone get it. It takes you 15 minutes maybe to play through it, and a third of that is a song.
I love
just a note.
These types of games a lot. Free experimental. I think this was even a college game, I think.
Yeah, it was a student project. I watched a YouTube video about it.
It's probably from that student, Jacob Geller's video that got me interested in seeing what this is.
Could be.
Because it reminds me of a game that used to be out on Steam called Morai. Morai, which was the game that I was originally going to suggest to you. Where that is a game where it's first person and like you go into a cave and you see a woman dying, and she's like, "Could you finish me off?" And you choose to kill her or not. Oh. And
that's not how I took that.
Wow, dude.
You play weird games. 100% that's a game you've played. There's this woman in the cave, and then we just start banging one out because, there's a button for that.
Touche fights there.
Yeah.
But, and then you leave the cave, and you have another person entering the cave, and he asks you, like, what's going on in there, and you choose what to say to him, and he chooses whether to kill you or let you go, to believe you or not. Yeah. And then at the end, it shows you the stats because this is online. So you interact with other online people that made that choice before you.
And it's like a live scoreboard?
So it's like a scoreboard that shows you, like, these people allowed the person to leave. These people killed the woman. These people...
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
It's like Helldivers, where there's, like, max stats going on.
And it was doing. But you can't play that game anymore. But this game is a lot like that.
Okay, so...
It's a fun little experiment on... what to address in video games, how to address them, and exploring your talent in a safe way. That's what I loved about it.
Just the creation of the game is like exploring your talent. Gotcha.
Yeah, because it's a student project.
Yeah.
3 people working together.
Yeah, and it's free, like I said.
It's free, and it's just a tiny little fish.
So
falling down a chute, and then you control them, and then you see another fish that says, are you going up, you're going down. Yes. And you choose what to tell them.
So the game is pretty straightforward, the game playing. Like Jake said, you start out, you're just a fish, you're in a chute. It looks like an industrial weird thing.
Yeah.
And there's quick little dialogue.
Yeah.
Where one fish says, you got to choose up or down.
Yeah.
It gives you nothing else. Just you choose an up or down, and then you flop your way down a little bit, and
you run into a bunch of different fish. One says, "Don't go up. Up, I hear, is the bad one.
Right.
You need to go down." And another one says, "No, you go down. You don't go up because And you say, "I see everybody go down there, but I don't see anybody ever come back."
Right.
And you also run into people. My favorite fish is, of course, the fish that has
the indecisive fish.
No, the fish that has his tongue replaced with that parasite.
Right. So there's a parasitic little bug that eats fish tongues and then just lives in their
and
mouth.
just lives as his tongue now.
Right.
And
and that bug sings a song.
And well, he also literally speaks for that
Speaks for the fish. Yeah.
fish. He says, "I'm sure my buddy would agree with me that you should be doing this stuff." And,
Right.
he's kind of snarky.
There's a real David Lynch moment for me where it's just like, and now it's a song.
And now he's like, "Oh, I can tell
Let me
you
tell you all
what this
about
is
it."
all about right
Yeah.
here. The song."
So the premise of this game is you get down there and there's fish that you meet along the way. There's one fish who's like caught in some gears.
Yeah.
Where he's like, hey, I'm caught here. Whatever you do, don't push that button over there. And there's no way to get around it. So that's like the first real choice you have in the game, but it's not a choice. Because there's no way to progress without, and it kills the fish. And then you have to progress down. You meet more fish. There's one fish who's really indecisive where he's just like, I'm not sure. What are you going to do? And you just say, I'm going up. And he's like, oh, no. Like if he's saying he's going to go down, then he disagrees with you. Or if he says he was going to go up too, then it's like, oh, yeah, I was going to do that. So now I feel better about my decision. You get to the end, and this is all 10 minutes into the game.
Yeah.
You meet the last fish, and it's like, all right, it's time to make your decision.
The last fish comes up and he's like, I watched everybody go and choose these chutes.
Yeah.
He's like, I know how many went up and I know how many went down.
And he's like, do you want to
Do
know?
you want me to tell you? And I said, no, don't tell me.
Yeah.
I just went.
I just said, yeah, tell me.
Yeah.
And
Because he's like, when I tell you, it's going to influence your
Right.
choice. Like, period.
yeah.
And he's like, it's maybe it'll strengthen your resolve, but maybe it's better not knowing.
Yeah.
And that's where I come from. And I was like, yeah, I don't need to know.
So, and it doesn't matter. There's two places there's two endings of the game. One, you end up at just a pile of stuff, and one, you end up as a sandwich. I played the game picking up and down. Those are the only two endings.
I only picked up.
You only went up?
Yeah.
So up is
And then I
ending
didn't
up
play
in
again.
Up is ending up in the pile.
Yeah.
Yeah? And down you end up as a sandwich.
Yeah.
So first playthrough, you said the first fish asked you, are you going to pick up or down? You said up?
Yep.
And you stuck with up the whole way.
All the whole way.
Because that's basically what the game is it's trying to see how other people influence your choices.
Well, it's about faith,
Yeah.
about belief, and how it's structured around what you
Right.
believe and how it's influenced by the outside world.
And then at the end, the fish tells you it doesn't really matter what you're going to pick, and you've already chosen
You can
anyway.
always choose.
Yeah.
Even especially at the end, if you've been telling everybody, hey, I'm going to go up, and at the end you find out everybody's going down, and you're like, well, I'll just go down now. You're not tethered to anything.
Right.
You can choose.
There's no
whenever.
real way to win.
It's not a winning or losing game.
Right.
It's just a choice.
So this comes off the back of last week's recommendation when you recommended Anatomy. I'll say this game, I didn't like it as much as Anatomy. I
Yeah.
thought it was cute. It was fun.
Yeah.
It's a 2.
Sure.
I mean, which I gave Anatomy a 1, but I still think Anatomy is a better game than this.
Yeah.
Because it's a fun little thought
fun
experiment.
little- experiment.
It's a cute game. I think most people should play it. Like, obviously, we've spoiled the ending for you. It doesn't matter, but it's fun to just kind of experience it. And I would say
that we don't spoil the add-on game to it.
right.
for
So
'em.
what's the add-on game called again? It's got a weird name.
It's called Last One and Then Another.
So that game, I won't spoil anything about it. So it's just a little
But you play
DLC.
as the fish.
You play as the fish again, but it actually has a little bit of platforming to
It's
it. Where I'm like,
Katamari Damacy now.
yeah, what?
You don't know Katamari Damacy?
I thought, is it Super Monkey Ball? Is that the same thing?
No.
So it's kind of
Katamari
like
Damacy is a game where you play as a little ball and you pick up smaller items until you're a bigger ball, and then you pick up bigger items, and then you're picking up buildings and Godzilla and stuff.
So that has a real scary component to it. Like the first one, just the how fish is made. It's not scary.
It's not scary. It's brutal,
Yeah.
and it's uneasy, but it's not scary. This one's starting to have little horrific elements to it.
Right. Yeah, it's a 2 and it's fun. And they say they have
And
another
it's
game
a
coming out
prequel
called
for Mouthwash.
Mouthwash, which will be the next game.
Which I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, I mean, I'll play it when it comes out. I mean, it's fun. The one thing that threw me off about this game was at the very beginning, there's a warning.
Yeah.
Do you remember what the warning is for?
No.
It says contains scenes that may trigger trypophobia.
Yeah.
Trypophobia.
Yeah.
Which I was just like,
What is that?
I don't know what that is.
And then you Google it.
No. So what I did was I played through the game.
Yeah.
And then I noticed there are these weird little things in the walls when
Yeah.
you're getting through, and they have like little holes in them.
Yeah.
And the holes have little things coming out of it.
Like barnacles.
And I felt in my stomach a very real thing where I'm like, I don't like that. It's not scary, but it just made me feel uneasy. And apparently that's what tryptophobia is. It's a fear of things like a disgust or fear of patterns of holes.
Yeah.
Like this. Like that's a lotus seed pod.
Yeah, I remember seeing that. Yeah.
That makes you feel nothing?
No, not really.
God, I found out I have a new thing. That's fun in my 30s to find out there's a word for something I didn't even know was a thing.
I want to give you an exercise. Try this.
I can't
Don't.
It's like I'm the first person to say, "Oh, you're afraid of clowns." Like calorophobia is the fear of clowns. There's a phobia for everything.
Yeah.
And when I read trypophobia, I'm like, "Freaking trypophobia," and then I see it, I'm like, "Oh no!" It hit me in a real way where I'm like, when I replayed the game to pick down the second time, I was just like, I'm just gonna breeze through this part because I don't like all these. Oh God, I got to get it off my fucking computer. God damn it! I'm literally getting goosebumps right now from those fucking things.
I got a
hate
phobia
it so much.
for nails.
Fingernails?
Yeah, like removing them.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Moving
that's just
them.
common sense. I didn't think I could see something in a video game and it'd give me the
Watch
heebie-jeebies.
somebody crack a nail on the side, you know, and you just be able to peel it off.
It's a big thing in
Freak me
horror
out.
movies.
I hate it. Well, when it's something that peels off, like from the skin, I'm just talking about it was just grown over and it chipped off the side,
Ugh.
and he was just able to pull from that chip and just like pull it off.
No, thank you.
Not all the way. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
no clip.
no, thank you.
Yeah, it was gross. It freaked me out.
Well, I will say How Fish is Made gets a 2, and it taught me that I have a new thing that I get to talk about
I'm really
in therapy.
happy that even that this wasn't the horror game that I gave you.
No.
It allowed you to find a new phobia that you can explore.
I fucking hate it.
That's amazing.
I hate that there's a word for it, and I hate how it's just like, yep, that's the one. All right, so that game gets a 2. It's available for Steam, free. How Fish
Absolutely
is Made.
play
Yeah,
it.
check it out. It's fun. It's a fun way to kill some
Love
time.
a game that's 15 minutes.
It should be on your phone. If they had that on your phone, that would be great.
I think it should be an experience on the TV
Yeah, I mean, I played it on Steam Deck. It's
Yeah.
fine. But yeah, it's a good game.
because the song and dance number is really good.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Speaking of games, there's a update to Stardew Valley. The new update's
Yeah,
out, but it's only
1.6.
it's only for PC.
Yeah, for now.
Yeah,
It'll be out.
It'll be out for PlayStation, but I want to read nothing about it. It's like there's a new farm and some new shit, and I'm just off the. I unfollowed the Stardew Valley subreddit because I'm like, I don't want to see anything about it because I want to wait till it's out on PlayStation.
Have a nice,
and get it
fresh experience to it.
Fucking love Stardew Valley. Best video game you've ever recommended.
You're welcome, buddy.
Hands down. All right, let's get into my recommendation for Jake. 2023 film Napoleon,
Yeah.
starring Joaquin Phoenix
Yes, sir.
and directed by the great Ridley Scott.
Wiggly Scott.
And it's about Napoleon. I mean, it's pretty
Napoleon
straightforward.
Bonaparte.
Not Napoleon.
Dynamite.
No,
You idiots.
That's a different movie. That's Napoleon Dynamite. But yeah, I was waiting for this to come out on Apple or on streaming for you to see it because we didn't see it in theaters.
Right.
Another movie that some people say got snubbed for Oscars because it was kind of produced as
This movie.
Well, it was when the trailers were out for it and it came out around Thanksgiving. People would be like, "Oh, this is going to be an Oscar-y movie," but then most people are like, "Yeah, it's not exactly what we thought it was. It's not a big historical epic." I think the reason I recommended this to you is one, it's a great movie. I think that it was. I'm going to go on a limb and say it's not what you thought it was. I think it's a very different movie than you thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
I think it was funnier than a lot of people think it was going to be. I think it's well shot. It's well acted. Joaquin Phoenix and Vanessa Kirby are fantastic. Vanessa Kirby plays Josephine, Napoleon's wife. And I just think it's a great historical movie. I think it gives a good look at Napoleon. How he was just, in my notes, I said, he is so grubby and horny all the time. Napoleon is just a little horny man. And it's just, I think there are parts of this movie that are so funny. All right, so what do you think about it before I get into my notes?
I would say that this movie did nothing to change my idea about historical epics.
Okay.
It's different than what I thought it was going to be, but I didn't really think
I knew that.
much
Of it?
of it beyond that.
Really?
I saw a potential in this movie if it solely revolved around the letters between Josephine and Napoleon.
Interesting stuff.
That when it was doing that,
Yeah.
the back and forth, and how we would get updates on the battles from Napoleon's writings,
Yeah.
and like just her not responding all the time, and how their relationship grew and ended, and all of that was extremely interesting. It gave me more insight into what Napoleon would be as a person.
Right.
All the battles where he had cannons and nobody else did. So
yeah, that was pretty much
a lot.
Napoleon is known to be like one of the greatest generals of all time, and it was a lot of the stuff. It's just like he had bigger guns, and like most people didn't have those
shooting
big guns
with cannons.
Yeah,
even in that one battle where they were hiding to flank, he's like, "Let them think we're not up here," and then they come down and charge. And he's like, all right, now start shooting over some cannons. Yeah. You're like, there he is.
So I will say the battle scenes. The first battle is the Battle of Toulon, where Napoleon goes to the south of France. It takes place after the French Revolution.
That's where he learns that cannons are so strong.
Right, because he's riding his horse, and a cannon goes straight into his friggin' horse.
And he's like, damn, I gotta get that.
It's a visceral movie. Like some of the stuff. There's a scene later where
it's gory, like a horror movie.
Right, where the French are coming in. They're trying to protest, and there's a whole line. It's a real Les Miserables moment where people are like marching towards the armed guards, and Napoleon has cannons, and he's just like, shoot. And he just mows down
the front line,
the peasants,
and then they all run away, and then you just see a lady try and crawl away from her legs to survive.
Yep.
And you're like,
pretty great.
I'm happy that the movie wasn't like he was a genius on the battlefield. He was like, no, he just didn't mind that he was killing millions of people.
And he was a dick too.
Yeah.
He was very arrogant, but also incredibly when it came to just Josephine. So one of the things that's historically accurate is when Napoleon left to go to Egypt, Josephine started messing around with another guy.
Yeah.
A younger man. And it was all over the French newspapers. That's just like, hey, Napoleon's wife is banging this dude. Let's all make fun of him. And he comes back and he's the subject of ridicule.
Is that true that he took a secret boat to go back to his wife?
Yes, as far as I know.
Damn.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as the story goes, this is the most interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah.
So
like the value
the way that he wants to be in charge, it shoves her around, but she also knows how to throw her weight around him. And she's not worried about it.
Because in that scene exactly, when Napoleon comes back and tells her, like, you're nothing without me, and then she like flips it on him.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh no, I have complete, total fucking control over this guy.
Yeah.
And eventually they have to get divorced because she can't have kids. And, yada, yada,
slaps her in public.
It turns out that her previous husband was killed by Robespierre, and it opens up with the murder or the beheading of Marie Antoinette. Yeah. Which is, again, just shown, like, dude's holding up her head.
Yeah.
Pretty gross, and Napoleon's just standing there. Also, did you notice who plays his buddy at the beginning? Paul Barras? No. The first Frenchman that brings him in and puts him on the council and everything. Paul Barras is played by Tahar Rahim, also known as the bad guy from Madame Web. He is so good in this movie.
Yeah, his swagger is so much better in this movie
than Madame Web, where he was just
Look at how much ADR just takes away from a performance,
right?
Huh?
I think Madame Web was like one of the first things I saw him in, and I was watching this and I was like, that guy's charming as shit, and I was like, it's fucking Madame Web. Yeah, he's so great in this movie.
That's so funny.
And then at the end, Rupert Everett shows up as the Duke of Wellington. And him as Napoleon are just sending guys across the field at each other. Because that was war back then. Yeah. Just stand in a line and hopefully
they didn't want to go out in the rain.
Right. Wait until the ground's dry. And I will say this. The battle scenes, I put in my notes that no one does scale like Ridley Scott. Like the big historical things, whether it's this, whether it's Gladiator, whether it's Kingdom of Heaven, something like that. He has this way of making you seem like, here are these individual men, and then just zoom out in a way to where it's crazy. Like when they're at the pyramids in Egypt and everything like that, it's so good the way he shoots, showing people up against all the people that are insignificant, but still making you focus on this one guy. Like Napoleon's standing in his tent at the end of the Battle of Waterloo, and you zoom in through one of the English soldiers' spyglass, and he's like, I can see him. Yeah, I have a shot on him right now. Wellington's like, no. I zoom out and see these dudes just charging, and it's like, and then cavalry comes in.
I want to be fully transparent with you.
Yeah,
I did fall asleep during the Battle of Waterloo,
but that's the whole thing.
Nah. Nah.
All right, so
that one was a bunch of people staring.
I think
and standing.
It was, but I will say this: I forget whatever battle it is, but
I'm not saying that I didn't watch it. I went back and I finished it.
Good man,
but I did fall asleep during the Battle of Waterloo.
God damn it, Jacob. It's not even that long of a movie. But so the battle where he's
I will say I didn't know that he got exiled twice.
Yeah.
Because the first exile, I was like, I know the name of that island. And then they kept saying it's Elba. And I'm like, no, it's not.
That's not where he got exiled.
I was like, no, it's not. And he just was like, I don't want to be exiled anymore.
Right, where he's just like, you know what? I'm going to go back. And he gets another army.
Yep.
It's fantastic how he
Nice
does
and
that.
quick.
Yeah. And
That's pretty all right.
Joaquin Phoenix is great. I think
Joaquin Phoenix is great, and I think Ridley Scott really loves it when Joaquin Phoenix is being a wild little guy.
He is.
Because he's like that in Gladiator.
He's so grubby and gross. Like, he's just a gross little man.
I love Joaquin Phoenix. I think he really gives it his all in this performance.
He does. He doesn't everything. Like he's an all
weird.
He never phones in a performance. Like even if it's not a great movie, he goes all out.
It's so weird that it's straight up English in a French thing.
Yeah,
it's uncanny that even the newspapers and letters are all in English, which like it just feels weird.
Yeah,
this day and age. Not that I'm saying that it's like erasure. It just doesn't feel like French culture.
I have a quote from Ridley Scott about this movie because I did find there's some historical inaccuracies in it, but it's whatever.
I don't care.
Exactly, Ridley Scott. This is from the IMDb trivia. In response to criticisms of historical inaccuracies, Sir Ridley Scott simply said, "Get a life." When further pressed by historians, he added, "When I have issues with historians, that's, excuse me, mate, were you there? No? Well, shut the fuck up then." I love it.
He sounds like he's still a fun guy.
Yeah.
Why hasn't he made a more
Gladiator
interesting
2,
movie?
it comes out later.
I don't want to see that.
Gladiator 2 comes out later this year.
Oliver Reed is dead. Why are you making that? I think he died in Gladiator anyway. But
Gladiator
my point
2
stands.
That's
Is Russell
fine.
Crowe coming back?
I don't know. Maybe it's Gladiator 2.
Man, have you ever seen the movie The Man with the Iron Fist?
No,
Man,
I've seen The Man in the Iron Mask, The Iron Giant, and Iron Man.
it's the RZA's movie, and he's got Russell Crowe in it.
RZA from Wu-Tang RZA?
Yeah,
What?
yeah. I would say it's not really good. Russell Crowe's in it, and he's just basically drunk the whole time.
When you say it's RZA's movie,
RZA wrote, directed, I
Shut the
think,
fuck
and
up.
starred in it. The Man with the Iron Fist 2, however, is so good. That movie is capital.
Russell Crowe's character's name is Jack Knife.
Yes. And he's got a really cool knife, too. But he is not
I'll
in
have to
this
check
movie.
out. I love RZA. RZA's great.
Watch this movie, just watch the second one. I actually just watched the second one. The second
Okay.
one's amazing.
So what do you give Napoleon, by the way?
2.
It's a 2?
It's 2. It feels like if you're into this type of movie,
I am.
You're going to be into this movie. But it's just not my cup of tea. I
hear you.
I will drink it. But I'm not going to be like, what's the name of that brand? I would just be like, okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thanks for the tea. Yeah. I will. There are scenes in. I was thinking about this. There are scenes in Egypt where he like goes up to the sarcophagus of a mummy.
Yeah.
Like opens it up and he like looks at the mummy. I was like, if you frame this differently, it's a fucking Wes Anderson movie. Like it's just aloof people doing weird stuff in beautiful locations. Like if everything was framed dead on, the comedy of it and the pacing of the jokes, the physical or not.
Am I going to have to get you to watch a lot more Wes Anderson?
I mean, I've seen a good bit. I haven't seen Asteroid City, but that's on streaming now.
I would suggest
it's
it.
good. Yeah.
It's one of his most. It's probably the weirdest one that he's ever made.
He's one of those guys where I'm not like a huge fanboy of it, but the things I've seen are fine.
I absolutely love his films.
Yeah.
I think he's great.
But I'm saying
This one is the one that pushes it for me.
Asteroid City?
Yeah, I think it's good.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
It's just like, man, this is a weird movie.
I was just watching and I was like, it looks like just like a Wes Anderson movie.
Jeffrey Wright,
You can see it.
Asteroid City is incredible.
I believe it. He's a great actor. But you can. I'm saying the pacing of the physical humor of Napoleon, like parts of it, like even this part where he shoots all the civilians with the cannons. Like just the way that's paced as a visual joke, it's very Wes Anderson.
I did not pick up any type of joke.
I laughed out loud when he shoots all the civilians because
Yeah,
he's
I
just
didn't
standing
pick
there
that
and
up at all.
He looks so. Go back and watch it. He looks
I'm not
so
doing
aloof. And if it was framed with just like pastel colors
saw
and
his
everything was
aloofness.
dead center,
Yeah.
it'd be a Wes Anderson movie.
But I thought it was more like, he's supposed to be this great
general,
yeah. But his move is
shoot everyone with a cannon.
I'm just gonna kill everybody.
Yes.
I'm just going to kill everybody.
100%.
And they're like, man, this guy's good.
like a Wes Anderson movie where it's just goofy.
It's like, you know, I just felt like it was him, like, being upset that they're wasting his time.
Yeah. Well, I loved it. I liked it a lot more than I thought I would. I thought it was a great movie. Everyone should go watch Napoleon.
I did say last week that I thought this was the wars. The sea is now battlefield. The oceans are battlefields. Mm-hmm. It's not this movie.
No.
I don't know what that movie is.
That's Master and Commander Far Side of the World.
Oh. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to watch that.
No, you don't have to. I mean, maybe.
The ships are beautiful. I don't care for this movie.
Fair enough. All right. So Napoleon gets a 2. How Fish is Made gets a 2 as well.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody, for listening this far. If you want to get in touch with the show, you can send us an email to upyouralleypod@gmail.com. Again, be sure to leave a comment if you have any thoughts about Napoleon or the fish game or anything else we talked about. Do that below. Let's figure out what we're going to be talking about next week. Jake, what do you got for me?
I got you a YouTube video, buddy.
YouTube, that's a .com, yeah?
Yep. And it's from a comedian named Connor O'Malley.
Okay.
You know him?
Yeah, that name's familiar.
Specifically, his video called The Mask.
Connor O'Malley, The Mask.
Yes.
The Mask 2023?
Yeah.
Okay. Came out in December 2023 on Connor O'Malley's YouTube channel.
Yep.
Sure.
Should be a half hour long, I believe.
24 minutes, yeah.
And Connor O'Malley is a comedian. I think he's one of the most progressive types of comedians.
Is this going to be a thing like Bobby Fingers where I have a new favorite person?
I don't think so.
Huh.
But I think it'll be like, that was very interesting.
He was on an episode of Stavros Halkias' podcast a while ago.
That sounds right.
Stavros Halkias is a comic out of Baltimore.
Yeah,
good guy.
I remember he was in Cometown?
Yes.
Yeah,
that was his podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to check that out. I was torn on so many things for you this week.
Oh.
There's
The cup runneth over.
Yeah, there's a couple new bands that I've been listening to. X-Men 97 is out now on Disney Plus. I watched the first only the first 2 episodes of that are out.
Feels like it's grabbing nostalgia so much.
It's really good. They only have the 2 episodes out now. It's good.
I'm so wishy-washy on if I'm going to watch it or not.
Watch it. It's good.
Because
I'm not going to recommend
the greatest cartoon I was watching when I was a kid.
It's good. And also, speaking of cartoons, the new season of Invincible is out. I don't know if you've started watching Invincible, but I was thinking about getting you to
I
watch
watched
that.
season 1.
Yeah.
That was good.
It's great.
Yeah.
But eventually I had to go with something that was released today on Netflix. It's 8 episodes. I've only watched the first 2. That
TV?
is... Yes.
What do you got?
Well, it's not TV. It's Netflix. That is 3 Body Problem.
Oh, yeah. You've been really excited for this.
So I just finished the 3rd book of 3 Body Problem. It's a series of sci-fi books by Chinese author Cixin Liu. And I will say this. My favorite sci-fi book coming into this was Ender's Game and also Sphere. But if you're talking like space sci-fi and like futuristic stuff, it was Ender's Game. Sphere's a little bit of that, but Sphere's a little more of a small story. And
Stars My Destination.
I will say this. 3 Body Problem, the series is amazing. It's a big spanning series, and each book is kind of about a different phase in humanity. Like, the final book ends, like, 15 billion years in the future.
The Third Body?
No, it's not like that. So, but this one, just in the first 2 episodes, they've changed it a lot. They've condensed it. It's by the 2 guys that did Game of Thrones. So, I love all the changes they've made. It's incredibly well acted. It's incredibly riveting. I will say this. All I'm asking from you, if you can legitimately turn it off after the first 2 episodes, that's fine. I'm fine with that.
Okay.
You don't have to power through 8, but I think after the first 2 episodes, you're going to be like, all right, I have to watch more of this.
Okay.
The less you know about it going into it, the better. But even if you've read the books, it's different enough that it's just great. So 3 Body Problem on Netflix. I'm going to check out The Mask by Connor O'Malley. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Jake, thanks for coming over. Love you, buddy.
I love you, buddy.
All right, bye.
Oh, mama. Oh.